Good afternoon. I can't see anybody because of these lights up here. And hopefully you guys are not sleepy. So maybe I'll ask a question here. Uh, how many of you have heard about RPA? Okay, so many have. So RPA basically stands for Robotic Process Automation. It's quite boring, right? But hopefully I'll have a little bit more interesting session than just the name itself. So let me get going with this. So what I'm going to try to paint a picture of is about how can automation play a role in Indian economy, right? And technology, I think, has become the most significant differentiator when you look at advanced economies, developing economies, and third world economies, right? So technology is the deal. If you look at the fights between America and China today, it's mostly about technology, right? Like you look at Huawei, 5G tussles, right? It's all about technology. So I think for India to grow, the technological progress is the only way to get us to the league of the developed nations. So that's what I'm trying to focus on today. This company, Automation Anywhere, where I work now, is an Indian heritage startup. So they started out in Baroda out of sheer conviction that we can do it in India. And it's one of the few and maybe only large software platform companies that is run by Indians, totally Indians. It started by Indians, run by Indians. So I think there's a big round of applause for that itself for this company. So they started in Baroda and now headquartered in San Jose, and now they're valued at over $6.8 billion. So this is a company that's basically started the category of software called robotic process automation, and still is a leader in that space. So there are other competitors now, but with the 15 years of history, I think we are one of the strongest providers in this space. And we have over 4,000 customers globally, and I think many hundreds in India now, including many of the companies in India that are out of US and Europe that run their back office operations here use our software to power their end-to-end automation. What is our vision, right? So robotic process automation, as the term stands for, is basically the goal is that if you look at how workers interact with the computers today in dealing with various information systems, whether it is an SAP system, Oracle system, or a homegrown system, they're basically doing a lot of work around getting information out from one system, interpreting it, massaging it, and then putting it into the next system. And even though the system of record, whether it's an Oracle, SAP, or what you have built yourself, might be doing something fantastic for you in that particular domain, but when you want to construct the whole process, a human being is required to do this, right? As an example, if you look at, let's say, just processing invoices or just processing orders, you need to look at the information that's present in the paper form and transfer it to the relevant application by understanding and reviewing that information. So what we want to do is, we don't want human beings to be involved in this very laborious, boring job of looking at information, making some meaning out of it and putting it in the next system. Right? So we want to take that labor out of human being and essentially create a software program that can do it for the human being, and then human being can then dedicate their time in what they are built for, which is using their analysis skills, creative skills in delivering the best experience, right? So imagine if you are a customer service agent and most of your job is about just doing that manual task versus serving the customer for delivering a better customer experience, which one would you choose and which one would deliver greater customer value, right? So it's obviously the latter. So that's the goal of the company, and we have over, I think, 1.7 million robots deployed across the world, which is proving that this is a scalable technology, robust technology that everybody wants to make their workers much more productive and much more deliver of value in the enterprises. As soon as this happens, where should I point? Okay. So just to give you a little bit of a theory, because this is all colleges we are speaking to. If you look at any business process, it's essentially, like I spoke before, involves multiple steps of capturing the data from some system. You enrich the data for a particular business context, let's say customer service context or a procurement context. Then you validate the data and you put it into the system, right? And once you do that, the process is over. and then you start with the next journey of data, which is in the form of validating it for errors, looking at it from an audit perspective, compliance perspective, creating analytics out of it, reports out of it, right? And essentially the task can be divided into two parts. One is a very manual task where you're not really applying your brain. But if you look at this value chain, you will find that there are several elements here which require human interpretation. And today, just like Sunil talked about, the AI/ML techniques have gotten to a point where you can build that interpretation capability into the software program using one of the machine learning models, right? So once you do that, you actually have the possibility of doing automation end-to-end or a significant part of the process. So that is really the goal of an automation platform like this, which in combination with an AI/ML models can give you a much more scalable process which is intelligent just like a human being is today, right? So that's the goal. And that's where the fun is, I think, from a technology perspective. So once you do that kind of automation, now there obviously you can think about what about job losses and so what if you can automate, right? But if you want to think about a country like India, then our economy is about 50% service economy, right? And in a service economy, how do you want to deploy your capital, right? Do you want to deploy your capital to do these manual tasks, or do you want to deploy your capital to do something more high value generating, right? So when you deploy capital to high value generating tasks, you actually grow as an economy. So we did a study with Ernst & Young, which took a look at all of our industries, manufacturing, government, telecom, BFSI, and they went on to the task of analyzing each of the tasks that are involved in their work, what their workers do, and figure out if we did automation of some of those tasks, what might be the result on the Indian economy. So PM Modi has a goal of reaching $5 trillion by 2024-25, and that sort of became a driver for us also to look at how can we help, right? So if you look at some of this calculation, GDP is essentially about what is going into producing something, which is labor, machines, etc., capital, and then multiplied by the productivity of that particular factor of production. So if you can improve the productivity of the factor of production, whether it is labor or machine or capital, then you can improve the GDP. That is the basis of this study, right? So when you do this study, you find that even if at a very conservative estimate, if the industries automate by 16% of the overall possibility of automation, the GDP of this country, India, can be elevated by over $350 billion in addition to what it is today, which will easily put it into the range of $5 trillion. And if industries automated to the tune of 40% of what is possible to be automated, we could easily go much beyond $5 trillion. So the possibility of automation in propelling Indian economy is real, right? And the other beauty of this is that because we have the technology and we know the technology by implementing, because we have done this for the last 30 years through the Infosys, Wipros, and all of the revolution that they brought about, it is something that is not dependent upon technology from anybody else, right? We have the technology, we know how to use it, and therefore we can achieve this goal by sustainable use of this technology, right? Which I think is a phenomenal thing if we can accomplish. And institutions have a huge role to play in making this happen, right? So this thing you might have also heard about. If you look at Chennai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Pune, there are large IT centers that have come up, right? And India basically now has the tag of automation capital or office of the world, where we process back office operations of, I think, almost more than 80% of Fortune 5,000 companies, right? So in each of these companies, if you look, we have lots of these workers that are doing these tasks manually, right? Now, if you can apply automation there, then these back office operations today, which are set up on the basis of just labor arbitrage, meaning that a person in US is more expensive than a person in India. But once you do automation, what is possible here is that you become a very core part of the overall business process that the US-based or Europe-based company is running in India, right? And you can deliver higher level value on these operations, and when you offer higher level value on these operations, you become a much more integral part of that delivery of economic value for which that organization in US or Europe is settled for. And therefore, your own replaceability is much less because you're now part of that strategic game, you're part of that core game of delivering business value. So in India, we therefore sell into both the enterprises and we sell into what we call as global capability centers. I think we have over 5,000 of those today, with about 1,500 being extremely large. So as education institutions, if we train our workers in the skills of automation, then their employability in these organizations which are called global capability centers or Indian enterprises can be very significant. So when you look at automation skills for your students, I think what you think about is what is the business process context. So business process can be an HR process, a financial process, a customer process, a manufacturing process, a supply chain process. So when you think about digital technologies applied in the context of these business processes, it becomes a very interdisciplinary area to work in, right? So it is not just about a MBA student, it's about MBA student and an IT student working together, right? As departments working together. As these other departments like engineering organizations or finance and accounting, they all working together to understand the business process where technology is important, understand the whole cycle, and then think about how to automate it, right? So in the context of a campus, you can think about a student admission process, right? Student admission process typically involves getting a bunch of documents, validating those documents, then assessing the student for whether the quality of essay or whether it is the grades that the student submitted or the test that they have passed. Now you have to aggregate all of that information and make some meaning out of it, right? So a significant part of that work is spent in just aggregating the information. And automation can really help in aggregating that information with a very high quality, and then once the human person, the admissions officer, who should really be assessing only the quality rather than doing all of the other admin job, can do a better job of assessing the quality of admission, then they can do much better decisions on that application, right? So this whole journey of automating, optimizing discovery is in one loop, and it is aided by AI and ML. So the other beauty of this platform is essentially a vehicle for AI and ML, and I know that colleges today are spending a lot of time in educating educating students in AI ML, right? And which is very important because data science and learning how to interpret data is going to be the key driver for our high quality jobs. So if you look at a platform like this, which can support building these data models and understanding how to work with data, you can bring that decision-making capability through these AI ML models into the automation platform. And therefore, when you look at the whole process end-to-end, so just looking back at the admissions process, if the admissions process at some point requires you to evaluate through an AI ML model whether the student has plagiarized an essay or some other information in the documents that they've submitted, then machine learning can build that intelligence and then you plug it into the admissions process, right? So in India, we are very fortunate that obviously we have the support of the global giants like Google, Microsoft, AWS, etc. But we also have a lot of startups that are being incubated in our institutions, right? I know that I was just with the IIT Madras Research Park this morning with Unifor.ai, and they've done some phenomenal work in the customer agent journey. So what is possible now, I think, is that the institutions deploy a lot of their intelligence, a lot of their academic power into incubating these AML companies for specific business areas for things that are relevant to India. And then using this AI and automation together, we can create brand new digital value, brand new customer values in the universe and become global provider of software. So, so what we intend to do is we want to make work more human, and to make work more human, we need more people who are skilled at making that happen, right? So with that intent, we launched a big program with ICT, and we are very thankful to ICT as well as ICT Academy in skilling our workforce. So globally, we are seeing an increasing demand for the RPA workers, and these are some global numbers. I think they're probably a little old because the numbers seem smaller than what they should be. But the demand is available globally, which also means that if you're looking for a job, whether in India or outside, then these skills are important for you, right? And a lot of colleges across the world, University of California, Davis, National University of Singapore, Christ College in Bangalore. So globally, we have a significant momentum and interest from colleges in having their students learn these skills. And we want to provide the platform to make that happen. So with that, we have a platform called Automation Anywhere University, where we have a lot of training available for free, and then there are a lot of certification programs available as well. And we already have over 750,000 courses completed, which shows you that there is meat behind this program, right? And we have fantastic, kudos that are coming in from different colleges like Christ and NUS, etc. Now with ICT Academy, I think our relationship is, a bit special. We have targeted to complete over 500,000 courses by 2021, but I think with the momentum that we have today, we are likely to cross that number much sooner than that, and I hope that happens with the support of all of you. And Bot Unleashed program is something that we talked about, and I think we'll soon see a video around this. So let me just make a couple of more points here. Okay. So while it is easy to talk about skilling for digitizing in other industries, I think it is also important to talk about skilling for digitizing in the academic institutions also. And whether you look at the admissions process, administrative processes, or the educational delivery methods, I think each of these areas need to be looked at from digitization and automation perspective. So I think you have a huge opportunity to create an environment where students are experiencing the world-class digitized environment, whether it is admissions process, course selection process, or other points of engagement with the students, and have them experience what is possible, so when they go out, they're able to apply that same digital experience, same enhanced experience that they experience in your colleges outside when they go to work. So I encourage all of you to look at what are those possibilities of improving the student experience, improving the faculty experience, and enhancing the productivity of all of the workers that are working in your colleges as well. So one case in point is the University of Melbourne. They automated their student admission process, and while they reduced the cost of admissions significantly, they also saw improvement in the quality of applications that were coming in, and that was probably because they were able to zone in on the right applications to process. So a huge benefit to improving the incoming student quality can be achieved if you have the right level of digitization and automation in the admissions process, and this university is a great example of that. So we have, I think, multiple ways to engage. One is the training, of course, but the other part that is very important is the digital transformation of the campus as well, and we will welcome any discussions on that while we are here today. Yeah, so thank you so much for your attention.